Well, hello and a very good morning. Thanks for tuning into News 9 Live. I'm Kabir Naqvi and you're watching this special broadcast of top stories from our studios here in the National Capital Region. Like always, ladies and gentlemen, this is your one-stop shop to understand and catch hold of the news pulse of the day. West Asian conflict between Israel and Hamas. It has been 100 days of that war. That is going to be our focus as well. In our segment Heralding 2024, we are trying to tell the viewers what the new year 2024 has in store for all of us vis-a-vis the Taiwan elections and the recent results over there and how China and US are now faring over that. Also, the Iowa caucus is taking place today amidst chilling blizzard in the United States, which is already reeling with the polar vortex and floods on various fronts. Also, at the same time, there's a full-blown narco war that's taking shape in Ecuador, and at the same time a volcanic eruption in Iceland, and of course what's happening in that mudslide that has claimed so many lives in Colombia is also going to be our focus. But first and foremost, ladies and gentlemen, talking about what's happening here back at home. So many political chess pieces and developments ahead of 2024 general elections. Now, ahead of that, Prime Minister Narendra Modi, he will release the first installment of 1 lakh beneficiaries of the Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana Gramin. All of this under the Pradhan Mantri Janjati Adivasi Nyay Yatra, the Janman scheme. And all of this is going to happen today via video conferencing. Now, the Prime Minister is also expected to interact with the beneficiaries of the Pradhan Mantri Janman scheme on the occasion. In line with the Prime Minister's efforts towards the vision of Antyodaya to empower the last person at the last mile, PM Janman was launched for socio-economic welfare of particularly vulnerable tribal groups, the PVTGs. And this was launched on the 15th of November last year in 2023, all on the occasion of Janjatiya Gaurav Divas. Now, the Pradhan Mantri Janman scheme, it has a budget of approximately 24,000 crore rupees and focuses on 11 critical interventions through 9 ministries and is aimed to improve the socio-economic conditions of the PVTGs by saturating the PVTG households and habitations with several basic facilities, namely safe housing, clean drinking water, sanitation, improved access to education, health and nutrition, electricity, road and telecom connectivity, and sustainable livelihood opportunities. The PM Janman scheme, approximately 1 lakh beneficiaries to get their benefits. Well, now the Bharat Jodo Nyay Yatra was officially kicked off from Khongjom in Manipur yesterday. Rahul Gandhi and Mallikarjun Kharge with that flag hoisting. What does day 2 entail? Well, let's take a look. Now, let's not forget, this is Rahul Gandhi's second large-scale outreach program, the Bharat Jodo Nyay Yatra. All that began from the ethnic strife-torn Manipur's Thobal district. Now, many are calling it a follow-up to the Bharat Jodo Yatra, which saw Rahul Gandhi cover over more than 3,000 kilometers, all on foot, from Kanyakumari up top to Srinagar, to Kanyakumari from the bottom, beg your pardon, to Srinagar right up on top. And the latest campaign, Bharat Jodo Yatra 2.0, the Nyay Yatra, is expected to involve extensive bus rides by the Congress leader as well. It is going to be a hybrid sort of a rally. Now, after a night halt at Kongjeng Lima Sports Association football ground in Sekmai in Imphal, Manipur, some of those visuals on your screens as well, where containers were set up for all those that are taking part in the Yatra. This is what something like Rahul Gandhi's everyday night lodging currently looks like. Now, the Yatra will resume today from Sekmai in Imphal West with a public address from the bus itself at Kangpokpi, followed by a public address at Senapati. And the final night halt will be at Khazuma ground in Nagaland. Now, the Yatra began from the Khongjom War Memorial and will cover a distance of about 6,700 kilometers. Some of those visuals when the Yatra took off yesterday from the rally ground in Khongjom. It is going to straddle along 100 Lok Sabha constituencies and 337 assembly segments and cover about 110 districts. This Yatra will conclude in Mumbai in Maharashtra on the 20th of March or the 21st, depends on when it finally concludes, after about a span of 67 to 68 days. Now, even as the Bharat Jodo Nyay Yatra was launched, former Congress leader Milind Deora on Sunday jumped ship and joined the Shiv Sena party. Deora was welcomed into the party by Maharashtra Chief Minister and Shiv Sena Chief Eknath Shinde. Now, there was a proper Pravesh program that was put across for Milind Deora. And you could see Milind Deora and Eknath Shinde really talking it out. It seemed like they really knew each other. Now, Deora's joining of the Shiv Sena came just hours after his announcement of quitting the Congress party. Earlier on Sunday itself, Deora took to social media and announced his resignation from the primary membership of the Congress party, bringing an end to his family's 55-year association with the party. Deora tweeted, and I quote, that today marks the end of the conclusion of a significant chapter in my political journey. I have tendered my resignation from the primary membership of the Congress party, ending my family's 55-year relationship. That's the microblogging website post on your screens. Now, it seems Deora was in touch with Jairam Ramesh before he took the decision. Milind Deora had told Jairam Ramesh that South Mumbai seat is a traditional seat of the Congress party, and Shiv Sena's Arvind Sawant had only won in 2014 and 19 because of the Modi wave. But now that the Modi wave is not with Shiv Sena's Uddhav faction, hence this seat should be taken back. He was also miffed with the Congress's willingness to pay heed and give in to the demands of the Uddhav Thackeray faction. Now, Deora also conveyed his message to Rahul Gandhi on the matter, of course, making sure that Jairam Ramesh was that bridge between Milind Deora and Rahul Gandhi. Meanwhile, ladies and gentlemen, my colleagues, they spoke to Milind Deora and Eknath Shinde, the son of the Chief Minister of Maharashtra, Eknath Shinde. Let's listen into those conversations real quick.
हमारे साथ में है मिलिंद जी। 55 साल का सफर था आपका, कांग्रेस के साथ खत्म हुआ, वजह क्या रही, किस बात की नाराजगी है?
देखिए, बहुत सारे इश्यूज हैं, मैं वो इन इश्यूज में नहीं पढ़ना चाहता हूं आज।
नहीं, हमने देखा बहुत इमोशनल बातें कही
आज। देखिए, मेरे लिए एक बहुत ही एक भावनात्मक मुद्दा कदम मैंने उठाया जो मैं कभी सोच नहीं सकता था कि मैं उठाऊंगा, और मैं केवल मुंबई, महाराष्ट्र, हमारे देश की जनता के लिए सेवा करना चाहता हूं, और यही मेरा उद्देश्य है।
बहुत सी ऐसी बातें आपने पीएम तक का जिक्र किया, सीएम का जिक्र किया, और जिस तरह से सरकार काम कर रही है, लेकिन कुछ तो बात ऐसी रही होगी जो आपको खटक रही होगी।
आने वाले दिनों में मैं कहूँगा, आज के दिन मैं, जैसे मैंने कहा, भावनात्मक है, मैं इन मुद्दों में नहीं जाना चाहता।
क्या लोकसभा का चुनाव आप लड़ना चाहते हैं? मैं सीट की बात नहीं कर रहा हूँ।
सीट और लोकसभा ये सब सेकेंडरी, वो देखा जाएगा। आज का जो मैं अपने सेल्फ रिस्पेक्ट, अपने जो मैंने कहा, जो मेरी विचारधारा है कि जनता के लिए काम करना,
जयराम,
उस विचारधारा के लिए एक प्लेटफॉर्म की आवश्यकता है, और आज मुझे एक प्लेटफॉर्म मिला।
डॉक्टर श्रीकांत शिंदे हमारे साथ में हैं। शिंदे जी, इसे एक बड़ा ऑपरेशन खुद कहा मुख्यमंत्री ने, किस तरह से आप इसे इसको पूरी इस ऑपरेशन को आप ही ने एग्जीक्यूट किया, ये कहा जा रहा है?
देखो, मैं एक छोटा कार्यकर्ता हूँ। यहाँ पर माननीय मुख्यमंत्री एकनाथ जी शिंदे साहब के नेतृत्व में जो है यहाँ पर मिलिंद जी ने प्रवेश किया है, वो बहुत बड़े नेता है यहाँ पर, कि मुझे लगता नहीं कि एक मेरे जैसा आदमी जो है उनको इन्फ्लुएंस कर सकेगा। वो खुद सांसद
कब से आपके संपर्क में थे? खुद सीएम ने बात कही कि आपने
खुद सांसद यहाँ पर रह चुके हैं, वो मंत्री जो है यहाँ केंद्र में रह चुके हैं, और मुझे लगता है कि वो खुद काबिल है उनका डिसीजन लेने के लिए। मुझे लगता है कि शिंदे साहब के नेतृत्व में जिस प्रकार से शिंदे साहब काम करे, डेवलपमेंट की राजनीति जो है, उन्होंने भी कहा मुझे जो राजनीति करने पसंद है वो डेवलपमेंट की राजनीति पसंद है, तो डेवलपमेंट की राजनीति देखते हुए जो है मिलिंद जी ने यहाँ पर प्रवेश किया है।
साउथ मुंबई में एक बड़ा फेस जो है शिवसेना को बतौर उम्मीदवार भी मिल गया लोकसभा के लिए।
ये जो उम्मीदवारी देना नहीं देना, ये जो है शिंदे साहब के ऊपर है, पार्टी डिसाइड करेगी, और पार्टी डिसाइड करने के बाद जो है कौन कहाँ से खड़ा रहेगा, वो वहाँ पर स्पष्टता जो है आने वाले समय में होगी।
एक सवाल और आखिर में, कि आगे का विजन क्या है, क्योंकि जिस तरह से कांग्रेस के इतने पुराने कद्दावर नेता 50-55 साल का उनका इतिहास रहा है पार्टी से, वो शिवसेना में आए हैं, आगे क्या कुछ और लोग भी संपर्क में हैं?
देखो, आप 1.5 साल से अगर देख रहे होंगे तो बहुत बड़े पैमाने पर जो है लोगों ने प्रवेश यहाँ पर किया है, और आने वाले समय में भी जो है बहुत सारे लोग जो है जो प्रवेश करेंगे।
कांग्रेस के नेता हम पूछ रहे हैं।
देखो, सभी पार्टी के नेता जो है यहाँ पर प्रवेश कर रहे हैं, कांग्रेस के हो, एनसीपी के हो, उबाटा के हो, सब लोग जो है आने वाले समय में जो है, जैसे 1.5 साल में इतने प्रवेश हुए, इतने नेता जो है यहाँ पर आए हैं, आने वाले समय में भी ये सिलसिला जारी रहेगा।
एक आखिरी सवाल, इसके शिल्पकार लेकिन आप ही को तो कहा जा रहा है, खुद सीएम ने बात।
मैं खुद कार्यकर्ता हूँ यहाँ पर, मेरी दोस्ती उनके साथ है, मित्रता है उनके साथ में। एक अच्छा संबंध मेरा और मिलिंद जी का है बहुत सालों से। तो आज जो है मिलिंद जी जो है शिंदे साहब का नेतृत्व जो है देखकर जो है यहाँ पर उनका नेतृत्व उन्होंने स्वीकारा है और उन्होंने प्रवेश किया है।
बहुत धन्यवाद श्रीकांत शिंदे। हालांकि खुलकर नहीं बोल रहे हैं, लेकिन खुद मुख्यमंत्री ने इस बात की पुष्टि की, मंच से उन्होंने बात कहा कि दरअसल श्रीकांत शिंदे उस शख्स हैं जिन्होंने मिलिंद देओड़ा से इस पूरे मामले पर बात की, और उसके बाद में मिलिंद देओड़ा, जिनका 55 साल का एक राजनीतिक इतिहास परिवार का रहा है कांग्रेस के साथ में, उन्होंने कांग्रेस का साथ छोड़ा और उसके बाद शिवसेना का दामन थामा।
Well, moving on, it seems another controversy is brewing in Karnataka. Karnataka police registered a case against BJP MP Anant Kumar Hegde after he said that the Bhatkal Mosque in Uttara Kannada would be destroyed just like the Babri Masjid. Now, during a public address in Uttara Kannada, Hegde drew attention by stating that the Bhatkal Mosque would face a fate similar to that of the Babri Masjid, which was demolished in 1992. The case is centered on charges of hate speech and an alleged attempt to instigate unrest in the district, as stated by Karwar SP Vishnu Varshan. The charges filed against Hegde fall under Section 153A, which pertains to promoting enmity between different groups based on religion, race, place of birth, or residence. Now, Anant Kumar Hegde did not stop at this provocative statement, but also took aim at Karnataka Chief Minister Siddaramaiah. He asserted that the inauguration of the Ram Mandir would take place regardless of whether Siddaramaiah attended or not. An FIR has also been registered in the matter. A suo motu case has been filed against Anant Kumar Hegde for calling out and defaming the Chief Minister of Karnataka, Siddaramaiah. And moving on, Maldives President Mohammad Moizu has formally asked India to withdraw its military personnel by the 15th of March, nearly 2 months after Male initially sought the removal of Indian troops. A high-level core group, including Indian High Commissioner Munu Mahavar, who has been established to negotiate the troop withdrawal, with the agenda set to achieve this by the specified date, which is that of the 15th of March. Now, Mohammad Moizu, who took office just in November last year, had previously made the formal request for troop withdrawal, citing a strong mandate from the Maldivian people. During a visit to China very recently, Mohammad Moizu aimed to align the Maldives more closely with Beijing, indirectly criticizing India in the process. Without naming any specific country, the Maldivian president emphasized the nation's independence and sovereignty, asserting that no country has the right to bully or influence the domestic affairs of Male. Well, now, even as we're looking towards the run-up to the Ram Mandir preparations in Ayodhya, there is but another important aspect that one has to take a look at, and that is of the special gallery that is cataloguing the life and achievements of Prime Minister Narendra Modi, all, of course, during his 10-year tenure as the Prime Minister and his tenure as the Gujarat Chief Minister. And this gallery at the Prime Minister's Museum and Library is likely to be opened up to the public this very week. Now, this gallery is going to be thrown open to the public only after the likely visit of President Draupadi Murmu. Some of those visuals that we'll put out for you from the gallery itself. Now, Draupadi Murmu's visit is going to be her first over there to the Pradhan Mantri Museum and Library. Take a look at that. A proper gallery that has been dedicated to Prime Minister Narendra Modi under his tenure and during his tenure. All the achievements and laurels and accolades of the nation have been put forth, have been highlighted rather in this exhibition, from Chandrayaan 3 to Aditya L1 to G20 to various visits that the Prime Minister has taken up, and how on the global stage India has now become a name that can't be messed with. All of that has been highlighted in this particular gallery. Now, this gallery is first going to be officially visited by Draupadi Murmu today, and after which this gallery is going to be thrown open to the public from this week onwards. The Modi Gallery, the work on which began towards the end of 2022, which showcases how the Prime Minister's early life and career as Gujarat Chief Minister shaped his own leadership and vision at the national level. Women empowerment was also something that was heavily looked at the Prime Minister's gallery. The Women's Reservation Bill, a special section on that, particularly a special section on the life and age of the Prime Minister, Narendra Modi. Take a look at that. Proper visual screenings depicting how not only are we focusing on women empowerment, but focusing on women-led empowerment as well. Now, my colleague Ghulam Jilani, who visited the memorial and witnessed the prep in place ahead of Modi's gallery opening, he had a lot to share, and he also spoke to the vice chairman of the museum. Listen into this conversation real quick.
So we are at the international section of Narendra Modi Gallery that will be thrown open for public this week. So we are with Mr. Surya Prakash, who is the Vice Chairman of Executive Council at the Prime Minister's Museum and Library. He will tell us about this gallery and more about this museum.
Yes, in this gallery you will get to know all the initiatives he has taken over the last 10 years in terms of improving India's relations with other nations, his travels abroad. On a rough estimate, I think he has his foreign travels are about 124 over this period, and he has gone to at least 64 nations. He has traveled to 64 nations. And here, for example, on this thing, this is a touch screen. You can just click on that and see the date on which he traveled to Denmark and his meetings and so on. And where he has gone more than once, you would have, you would have opportunity to click and get onto the other travels of his to that nation. So this is quite interactive, and it gives a lot of information about his foreign travels and his engagement with leaders of so many nations, and the efforts he has made to improve India's relations with other nations. Then we have here this thing on G20 and all the other initiatives. Okay.
Well, meanwhile, Ayodhya is preparing for the Ram Mandir Pran Pratishtha on the 22nd of January. Stay with News 9 Live for the mega coverage of the event.
Ram's Ayodhya rebuilt. Ram Lala's Pran Pratishtha. Countdown to January 22nd. Dateline Ayodhya. Catch the mega coverage only on News 9 Live.
Now, while the Ram Mandir in Ayodhya is all set to be inaugurated, there's an interesting story that needs to be looked at. The foundation for the mosque The land for which was provided by the Supreme Court in its Ram Janmabhoomi verdict is yet to be laid. Now, the Indo-Islamic Cultural Foundation, which is the trust that is overseeing the construction of the mosque, has now decided a different approach to fund the project. The new approach is being undertaken by the new chief of the mosque's development committee, Haji Arfad Sheikh. Now, Sheikh, a BJP party leader from Maharashtra, took over as the chief of the committee in November last year. And speaking to a daily newspaper, Sheikh said that the aim was to build one of the biggest mosques of India, and that too with a design which would be, quote-unquote, better than even the Taj Mahal. Now, Sheikh informed that a new design has been made for the mosque, in which the mosque will have 5 minarets. This will be the first mosque in India to have 5 minarets. Now, these 5 minars will symbolize the 5 major pillars of Islam, which are Shahada, that is the profession of faith, the Salat, that is the prayer, Zakat, which is the alms, and of course Roza, which is the fasting, and Hajj, which is the pilgrimage. A brick with the verses of Quran inscribed over it will be taken to Medina and then to all the prominent dargahs in India as well. A water and light show is also being planned at the mosque. And the mosque had been allotted a 5-acre plot in Dhanipur, which is located about 25 kilometers from the center of Ayodhya, in February 2020 after the Supreme Court's verdict in the Ram Janmabhoomi case. Now, even as the inauguration of Ram Temple nears, people have started to gather in Ayodhya from all across the country and abroad. Records are being broken with diya decorations depicting Lord Ram's picture. Next-gen safety measures are also being incorporated. Meanwhile, we have our boots and our men on the ground bringing us different kinds of stories. Sometimes it's about safety aspects, sometimes it's the mayor of Ayodhya talking to us. Take a look at this particular seer. He's taking us through the entire process of how the puja and the obeisance is going to take place.
प्रधानमंत्री ने तय किया है कि आने वाले दिनों में वो एक तरीके का अनुष्ठान करेंगे 22 तारीख से पहले तक। वो किस तरीके का अनुष्ठान होगा, कैसे होगा, हमारे साथ बात करने के लिए पंडित दुर्गा जी मौजूद हैं। एक बात बताएं, ये क्या होता है?
अनुष्ठान शुरुआत करने से पहले अनुष्ठान के बड़े नियम होते हैं। यजमान, सपत्नीक या यजमान जो भी होता है उनको दशविधि स्नान, और जैसे हम लोग ब्रह्मचर्य जैसे जीते हैं, बिस्तर में नहीं सोना, नीचे कुशा के आसन में सोना, और सात्विक भोजन करना, सात्विक रहना, और ब्रह्मचर्य का जो नियम है उन नियम को यजमान को भी पालन करना होता है और पंडित को भी पालन करना होता है। उसी निमित्त आज से प्रधानमंत्री जी जो है उस अनुष्ठान को प्रारंभ कर दिए हैं, जिसे हम लोग ब्रह्मचर्य आश्रम बोलते हैं, ब्रह्मचर्य पालन करना।
तो इसमें मतलब जो प्रधानमंत्री के पंडित जी होंगे वो भी काम करना शुरू कर दिए होंगे
जी, क्योंकि जो यजमान को भी करना होता है और ब्राह्मण को भी करना होता है, ये अनुष्ठान का एक अंग है, इसको करना ही करना होता है। केवल यजमान नहीं और केवल ब्राह्मण नहीं, जो आचार्य कराएगा वो भी और जो यजमान है वो भी, दोनों को। तो इसमें सबसे पहले अगर सुबह की शुरुआत करें तो कितने बजे उठना पड़ता होगा? प्रातः 3 बजे ब्रह्म मुहूर्त बुद्धि है, तो ब्रह्म मुहूर्त के समय उठना होता है, संध्या वंदन करना होता है, और उसके बाद योगासन इत्यादि जो भी दिनचर्या है, पर कुल मिलाकर ब्रह्मचर्य का पालन करना होता है। इसमें भोजन कैसा करते हैं यजमान? बहुत सात्विक फल आदि, विशेष करके तो फल आदि का ही, फलाहार जिसे हम लोग बोलते हैं, फलाहार करने का ही विधान है। अगर हम वस्त्र की बात करें तो किस तरह के वस्त्रों का इस्तेमाल करें? सात्विक वस्त्र, श्वेत वस्त्र, क्योंकि वस्त्र में हम लोग, क्योंकि हमारे देश के प्रधानमंत्री के यही पहनेंगे तो जरूरी नहीं है, कई प्रकार के वस्त्र धारण, पर सात्विक वस्त्र हम लोग। क्या इसमें कोई मंत्र वगैरह का भी जाप करना होता है? ब्रह्मचार्य में तो कई मंत्रों का जाप करना होता है। गायत्री मंत्र की उपासना करते हैं, तो प्राय सब लोग गायत्री मंत्रों का ही उपासना करते हैं, या अपने जो इष्ट देव हैं उनका उपासना करते हैं। मतलब जो उनके इष्ट देव है उनका, या फिर गायत्री मंत्र? जी जी जी। अच्छा, इसमें सोने की भी विधि है कि कहाँ सोएंगे वो? ब्रह्मचारी को केवल 4 से 5 घंटा सोने का ही विधान है। तो सोने का विधि है कि कुशा के आसन में सोने का विधि है। अच्छा, मतलब पलंग पे नहीं सोएंगे? पलंग पे नहीं, हाँ, जमीन पर सोएंगे जी। अच्छा, और इसमें मतलब वाणी और तमाम तरह की चीज़ों में भी ब्रह्मचर्य कहते ही सारे नियम उसी में आ जाते हैं। वाणी संयम, सारे चीजों का संयम होता है। शारीरिक, मानसिक, आदि भौतिक, आदि दैविक, सारे साधनों का मतलब समाधान, मतलब क्या बोलते हैं उसको, विशेष करके जो है ठीक से ब्रह्मचर्य का पालन करना होता है उसमें।
और ये कब खत्म होगा? 22 तारीख को खत्म होगा या 21 तारीख को?
कोई भी अनुष्ठान जो है प्रारंभ और पूर्णाहुति के बाद ही खत्म होता है। पूर्णाहुति के बाद एक ब्राह्मण भोजन इत्यादि होता है, उसके बाद ही खत्म होता है अनुष्ठान।
तो प्रधानमंत्री उस दिन फिर ब्राह्मण भोजन करवाएंगे और ब्राह्मण भोजन करवाने के बाद फिर अपना वो अनुष्ठान के बाद वो अपना भोजन या तमाम तरह की चीजें करेंगे,
क्योंकि सारे एक पीएम प्रधानमंत्री जी उनके पास में समय नहीं रहता है, तो ब्राह्मण भोजन एक प्रक्रिया है और ब्राह्मण भोजन करेंगे। मूर्ति प्रतिष्ठा करने के बाद वो अनुष्ठान पूर्ण हो जाता है, इसके बाद वो अनुष्ठान अपना तोड़ सकते हैं।
अच्छा, और अभी इसमें मान लीजिए कुछ ऐसा भी नियम है कि उनको ये पहनना होगा, जनेऊ वगैरह, या सारा कुछ?
जनेऊ धारण तो करते हैं प्रधानमंत्री जी हमारे, जनेऊ धारण तो करते हैं, वो तो पहनेंगे।
और मुख्य तौर पे श्वेत वस्त्र का ये है,
प्राय सात्विक वस्त्र, श्वेत वस्त्र माना गया है।
ठीक है, तो प्रधानमंत्री का विशेष अनुष्ठान शुरू हो गया है और ये अनुष्ठान 22 तारीख तक चलेगा।
Well, moving on, the Delhi NCR and North India continue to grapple with a freezing cold wave as dense fog reduces visibility to almost zero in some parts of the national capital. Take a look at those visuals. Delhi experienced the coldest night of the season on Sunday, with the minimum temperature dropping to 3 degrees Celsius. It had witnessed the coldest day on Saturday at 3.6 degrees Celsius, a cold weekend, if one could put it that way. Now, schools in Delhi, they have, of course, reopened from today onwards, of course, from 9 a.m. onwards, and cannot function beyond 5 p.m. due to the dense fog conditions, whereas schools in Noida and Greater Noida of the National Capital Region are temporarily closed for nursery to class 8 students until the 16th of January. The Delhi airport has issued a dense fog alert, stressing the importance of travellers to stay informed about their flight details. Consequently, around 110 flights are experiencing delays. 79 flights have been cancelled, with an average delay of about 50 minutes everywhere. The challenges posed by the fog extend beyond transportation, impacting the resumption of physical classes in schools following a 2-week winter break. Meanwhile, in response to the alarming deterioration of air quality in the national capital since the last evening, authorities have swiftly implemented GRAP 3 protocol with immediate effect, which indicates that BS3 petrol and BS4 diesel vehicles are prohibited to enter the national capital region. And of course, with a solemn heart, I must tell you, renowned poet Munawwar Rana, aged 71, has succumbed to throat cancer at the Sanjay Gandhi Postgraduate Institute of Medical Sciences. This happened on Sunday. His daughter Sumaya Rana informed that he passed away late at night. Munawwar Rana is survived by his wife, 4 daughters and a son. And Munawwar Rana had been battling this particular illness for an extended period of time. Munawwar Rana, born in Rai Bareli in 1952, was a renowned Urdu Hindi writer whose poetry garnered appreciation in mushairas worldwide. He was honoured with the Sahitya Academy Award in 2014 for his poem Shahdaba. But he returned the award a year later as a protest against the rising intolerance and state-sponsored communalism that he called in the country. In 2012, he received the Mati Ratan Samman from the Shahid Shodha Sansthan for his significant contributions to the world of Urdu literature. Well, time for us to slip into a quick commercial break here. Top global updates coming right on the other side. Keep watching News 9 Live.
Ram's Ayodhya rebuilt. Ram Lala's Pran Pratishtha. Countdown to January 22nd. Dateline Ayodhya. Catch the mega coverage only on News 9 Live.
Currently, the industry is facing a lot of challenges as far as demand is concerned. Basically, the US markets has slowed down because of high inflation.
So obviously, diamonds being a dream product, something which doesn't have a utility value or is seen as a luxury. So that obviously goes off your shopping list. That's the first item that will go off your shopping list, especially in recessionary trends.
That lab-grown diamonds are not mined, and they do away with the entire mining. So they save up on all the environmental damage that is associated with mining, and of course, the mining cost, which is why they're even more affordable.
People that is impacted by all these recessions are the artisans, are the people who work in this industry, right? But I think lab-grown diamond has allowed them to actually use their skills in the same product.
This and more streaming on world's first news OTT, News 9 Plus. Download now.
Bangalore traffic is an example of something that has gone wrong with our system.
We have more than 50 flyovers in Bangalore city. If flyover is a solution to traffic problem, Bangalore should not have traffic problem.
According to TomTom Traffic Index 2022, Bangalore is ranked as the second worst city in the world when it comes to traffic.
The speed limit at the ORR is 80 kilometers per hour, but our vehicle has only moved 10 kilometers per hour.
What Bangalore needs is a surgery, but what we have been offered repeatedly are band-aids.
Only on the world's first news OTT. News 9 Plus. Ahead of the curve. The following content may contain visuals that are disturbing, graphic, or sensitive in nature. Viewer discretion is advised. This material is intended for mature audiences and may not be suitable for all viewers. Please exercise caution while watching, and if you find such content distressing, we recommend discontinuing viewing. This disclaimer is provided to ensure awareness and to prioritize viewer well-being.
100 days after Hamas gunmen broke out of Gaza to launch the deadliest attack in Israel's history, tens of thousands of Palestinians have been killed. Gaza lies in ruins, and the West Asian region is sliding towards a wider, more unpredictable conflict. And here's a full report for you.
Heba Bakr and her family fled their home in Gaza City for this makeshift tent in Rafah, along the border with Egypt. It's been 100 days since Hamas gunmen from Gaza poured into Israel, killing and kidnapping, provoking a massive Israeli military reprisal on the densely populated and deeply impoverished enclave. For Bakr, one of the 2.3 million residents of Gaza, it's been a nightmare of displacement and death.
We feel that we're in a nightmare, that we can't leave. We don't know what will happen next. Is there something worse than this?
Almost 24,000 Palestinians have been killed and 60,000 wounded in the invasion, according to Gaza health authorities. The invasion began after Hamas militants rampaged through Israeli communities on October 7th, murdering 1,200 people and taking more than 200 hostages. Israelis in Tel Aviv on Sunday rallied to mark 100 days since their loved ones were taken prisoner in Gaza.
In a way, it's been the same day for me. It's October 7th every day because I wake up to the same horror.
Ayelet Levi Shachar is the mother of 19-year-old Naomi Levi. Her daughter was last seen in this video posted by Hamas on October 7th. She can be seen dragged at gunpoint by Palestinian gunmen in Gaza, barefoot, her pants soaked in blood, her hands tied and her cuffs bruised and bleeding.
Nama, if you hear me, if you see me, just hang in there. We're doing everything we can to bring you back. You will come back, you will return.
Israeli leaders say their military operation has two goals: eradicating the Hamas Islamist group that has governed Gaza and returning all the Israeli captives. Israel says it targets militants and does all it can to minimize harm to non-combatants as it wages urban warfare against Hamas. But the scale of the killing in Gaza and the dire humanitarian situation has shocked world opinion.
אחד מהדברים שהתבררו בלי כל ספק זה שאנחנו חייבים לנהל את המלחמה הזאת והיא תיקח עוד חודשים ארוכים.
Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu at a cabinet meeting on Sunday said he expected the war would take many more months, and the already harrowing death toll is only expected to climb. 22 members of the Abu Aweda family were killed when an Israeli airstrike hit this home in Rafah in November. Mohammed Abu Aweda told Reuters the bodies of 3 of his nephews still remain buried in the rubble. Their names are written here for now: Omar, Abdullah, and Masa. He told Reuters he comes here every day, hoping to recover their remains. It's been months of grief for Israelis and Palestinians, mourning children lost or praying for children held hostage. And at the 100-day milestone, many now face fears for children in the future.
I am 6 months pregnant. Since the beginning of this war until now, I haven't visited any clinic for checkups. I don't know what the situation of my baby is. I don't know anything.
And moving on, 11-year-old Ziv Braslavsky joined the protest in Tel Aviv, holding a picture of his 19-year-old brother Rom. The 11-year-old stood in the rainy plaza along with thousands of Israelis, calling for the immediate return of hostages held by Hamas in Gaza on the 100th day of their captivity. Israelis across the country and the world marked the 100th day since the start of the Israel-Gaza war. During this conflict, Hamas rampaged through Israeli border communities, army bases, and a music festival as well, resulting in more than 1,200 casualties and the kidnapping of 240 others. Out of those 240 hostages, over 130 are still held captive inside Gaza. Despite the harsh rain, thousands joined the families of hostages in a 24-hour-long rally named 100 Days of Hell, which concluded on Sunday night in a Tel Aviv plaza now known as the Hostages Plaza.
This is my big brother. He's kidnapped by Hamas. He's held hostage from the 7 October, 100 days. We hope we come back. We wish he came back every day, every night, every time, every hour, every minute that passed is harder. I'm asking the government to rescue the hostages, to bring them home. I'm missing my brother so much. I want him home. Everybody wants him home.
Now, Hamas aired a video on Sunday showing 3 Israeli hostages still held captive in Gaza, urging their government to stop the offensive against the Palestinian Islamist group and facilitate their release, as both sides marked the 100th day of the war. The 37-second video features Nawar Gamani, 26 years old, Yossi Sharabi, 53 years old, and Itai Swirilsky, 38 years old, and it concludes with the Chiron. Tomorrow, we will inform you of their fate. Now, Hamas stated earlier on Sunday that it had lost contact with some hostages as Israeli forces shelled Gaza, noting that they might have been killed in the process. Meanwhile, on the other side of the divide and spectrum, the Israeli army released videos purporting to show strikes on Hezbollah targets in Lebanon. This footage was published hours after a guided missile launched from Lebanon tragically killed a 76-year-old woman and her son in a village in northern Israel. Earlier, the Israeli military said it killed 4 heavily armed terrorists trying to enter from Lebanon. The IDF stated that its forces were engaging in strikes against Hezbollah targets in Lebanon in retaliation, and these cross-border exchanges marked the most intense clashes between Israel and Hezbollah since their 2006 war. Heralding 2024, what does the new year have in store for all of us? Take a look at this. As the Iowa caucus approaches, it stands as a pivotal early primary contest with the potential to reshape the entire presidential race. Now, traditionally, it has acted as both a stumbling block for frontrunners and a launching pad for determined political rivals. State parties are advising caucus goers to arrive early at their caucus site, ensuring proper registration and timely participation. Doors open at 7 p.m., which is the central time. Now, in the closing days of the campaigning, candidates are also hosting concluding events. It is important to note that Iowa's consistent track record in predicting the eventual Republican nominee, with the last successful prediction dating back to 2000, when voters in the state rallied behind George Washington Bush. Candidates urged the people of Iowa to brave the cold, exercise their democratic right, and participate in the caucuses by casting their votes.
Big thing, and I say it at every speech, don't sit home. Even if you think we're winning by a lot, it doesn't matter. You have to get out and vote. And we're really setting the table for November by doing that, because, you know, we're in very good shape. I hear we're in very good shape in New Hampshire. She hasn't risen to me. See, this is a typical CNN question. They had it the other day where Nikki went up a little bit beyond. She went up 2, and she was at 11, but she beat DeSantis. I was at 69, and I went up 7. And they said, Haley surges. She was at 11, but she beats it. So the headline was Haley surges. Because that's why it's fake news, CNN. That's why nobody watches it. No, not for any reason. I have time here. I like the people here. They're great people.
It is cold outside. And let me tell you how cold it is. So I've been doing this for 11 months. We've been all over this state so many times I can't count. And in 11 months, going back to like October, November, December, I would do all these town halls and I would say, y'all, it's cold out there. And y'all would laugh at me, right? You would laugh at me like that. Now I get it. I get why you were laughing at me, because this is truly cold. But we're going to keep on going anywhere and everywhere. We're going to go all the way until the last hour, because we know what situation we're in. If you look at what's happening in the country, it's tough right now. And you don't have to turn on the news to hear how bad it is. You feel it. You feel it when you go to the grocery store. You feel it when you go to the gas station. You feel it when you make your mortgage payment or your insurance payment. We do have a country to save. But I'll tell you this. If you will join with us in this movement, if you will join with us and caucus, if you will bring friends and family with you when you do it, I promise you, our best days are yet to come.
Meanwhile, just like Nikki Haley suggested, the holiday weekend brought dangerous freezing temperatures across the United States, disrupting activities from politics to travel and leaving 350,000 people without power in the Northeast and Pacific Northwest. As reported by the U.S. National Weather Service, an Arctic blast from Canada caused temperatures to plunge, impacting a vast region from the Northwest into the Rust Belt. Weather forecasters warn of heavy snow and strong winds and blizzard-like conditions in the Midwest United States, with dangerous temperatures across the Rockies and the Plains. Over 7,600 flights have been disrupted, and coastal floods and heavy rains have hit various East Coast cities, leaving vehicles partially submerged and driveways flooded. Adding to the complexity, an additional 13 million people living near the Atlantic Ocean, all large waterways, faced the threat of flooding from heavy rains and snows over the past few days. Well, shifting our focus to Taiwan next, wherein a historic win for the governing Democratic Progressive Party, William Lai Ching-te, labeled a dangerous separatist by China, secured victory in Taiwan's presidential elections. Now, the current vice president, known for asserting the self-ruled island's sovereignty, surpassed his conservative rival by over 9 lakh votes. Despite China's warnings against supporting the DPP, millions of Taiwanese cast their vote in the party's favor, choosing the 64-year-old vice president, Lai Ching-te. a former doctor turned politician. The electorate entrusted William Lai Ching-te to navigate Taiwan's complex relationship with China. Now, notably, the president-elect has consistently emphasized maintaining the status quo with Beijing. Following Taiwan's rejection of China, President Joe Biden stated that the United States does not endorse Taiwan's independence. Experts say that Biden has already irked China by deviating from the long-standing U.S. policy of strategic ambiguity. While shifting our focus to some top global news next, 6 individuals have been arrested on suspicion of plotting to disrupt the London Stock Exchange. The Metropolitan Police revealed that the activists associated with the Palestine Action Group were allegedly planning to target the exchange on Monday. Their plan involved causing damage and using tactics to prevent the building from opening for trading. Arrests were made in London, Liverpool and Brighton on Sunday, and all 6 individuals are currently in custody. The arrests were based on information shared by the Daily Express, and the police are treating this as part of a potentially larger planned week of action. The Metropolitan Police, in collaboration with other forces like the City of London Police, is aiming to prevent any further disruptions as well. Detective Superintendent Sian Thomas has emphasized the significance of the arrest and stop to a potentially disruptive and damaging event. The swift intervention was credited to the diligent efforts of the Metropolitan Police's public order crime team and their counterparts in Merseyside, and of course the fact that the news did come out in a news daily. And moving on, just on Sunday, a volcano erupted in southwest Iceland, presenting an imminent threat to a nearby fishing town. Fortunately, the town had been evacuated earlier and there were no people in danger, as confirmed by authorities. Take a look at this complete report for more.
A volcano erupted in southwest Iceland on Sunday. It's the second volcanic eruption on the Reykjanes Peninsula in less than a month. The eruption, which began in the early hours, posed an immediate threat to a small nearby fishing town. But authorities said that the area north of Grindavik had been evacuated the previous day, over fears that an outbreak was imminent amid an uptick in seismic activity. Early morning video footage from the site showed fountains of molten rock and bright orange lava spewing from fissures in the ground. Authorities have been building barriers of earth and rock in recent weeks to try to prevent lava from reaching Grindavik, some 25 miles southwest of the capital Reykjavik. But the latest eruption appeared to have penetrated the town's defences. A spokesperson told public broadcaster RUV that, based on flow models, it could take the lava a few hours to reach Grindavik if it continued to head towards the town. The eruption marks the 5th in Reykjanes since 2021.
We're shifting our focus here. By Saturday evening, all of the 158 guards and 20 administrative staff who had been previously held by inmates in Ecuador were liberated, according to the SNAI Prisons Agency. Now, the agency reported that the prison staff had been taken captive since last Monday in various prisons. Let's not forget, there's a full-blown narco war that's going on the streets amidst a notable increase in violence. Here's a report. Take a look.
Video released by the Ecuadorian military shows what it says was the demolition of a wall as part of an operation to free prison staff held hostage by inmates inside. And the SNAI prison agency on Saturday said all hostages had been freed. SNAI said 158 guards and 20 administrative staff had been seized since last Monday in several prisons. This footage from Saturday shows an unnamed officer telling family members of the hostages about the successful release.
Dear family members, the National Police, together with the armed forces, have freed the hostages. They have been deprived of their freedom for 6 days. They will be handed over to families. They have received a medical checkup. There has been no issue. This is a joint effort.
The incident is part of an escalating security crisis in the country that worsened this week. Gunmen stormed a TV station on air. unexplained explosions were set off in several cities, and police officers were kidnapped. The government declared a state of emergency last week and said that so far, more than 1,000 people have been arrested. Ecuadorian soldiers were patrolling at the shared border with Colombia on Saturday as part of the operation.
Well, now, since the state of emergency commenced in Ecuador on last Monday, over 1,000 suspected criminals have been arrested by the law enforcement agencies. On Sunday, Ecuador authorities apprehended 6 individuals, including a 17-year-old, in connection with an explosive attack on the police facilities in Guayaquil that occurred on Saturday. A military official stated that the arrests were made during an operation targeting the criminal organization Los Lobos, and they located a vehicle linked to the attack. Now, these arrests coincide with the efforts by Ecuador's police and military to restore order in the country's volatile prisons, again mentioning a full-blown narco war on the streets of Ecuador is underway.
Arriba, 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 arriba.
Well, shifting our focus to Colombia, where in the northwest of the nation, rescue workers are urgently striving to free survivors following a mudslide triggered by heavy rains on Saturday. The incident occurred late on Friday afternoon, and the rescue operations are still underway, claiming the lives of more than 35 people. Around 10 reported missing and injuring numerous others on a busy highway connecting Quibdó and Medellin in the Pacific province of Choco. Rescuers and canines from across Colombia have been deployed to search for survivors while grieving relatives gather at the disaster site. Colombian Vice President Francia Marquez expressed sorrow, noting that the preliminary reports indicated that the majority of the victims were children. Colombian President Gustavo Petro also visited the site of a deadly mudslide. And take a look at this. On Sunday, King Frederick X of Denmark officially took the throne, succeeding his mother, Queen Margaret II, who formally abdicated after a 52-year reign. Large crowds of emotional citizens gathered in the capital to witness this historic moment.
Huge crowds gathered in the Danish capital, Copenhagen, on Sunday to witness history, as Denmark's King Frederick X acceded to the throne. He succeeds his mother, Queen Margrethe II, who formally abdicated after 52 years as monarch. 83-year-old Margrethe stunned the nation on New Year's Eve when she announced she would become the first Danish monarch in almost 900 years to voluntarily relinquish the throne. In attendance Sunday were Margrethe, Frederick, his Australian-born wife Mary, who is now Queen, and their oldest son Christian, 18, who is the new heir to the throne. Denmark has one of the oldest monarchies in the world. Tens of thousands from all over the country braved the cold for the event, a sign of the popularity the monarchy enjoys in the nation of nearly 6 million.
It's going to be interesting to see how he's going to cope being a king. It's a big change for him, but it's also a big change for the Danish people. We are used to having a queen.
That was emotional because, you know, after I'm 52 years old and he's been a part of my life the whole life, you know, and the way she has performed, it's outstanding, I must say.
The couple will continue to reside with Margrethe, who will retain her title as queen, in their respective palaces at the Amalienborg Royal Complex. A recent survey indicated that 82% of Danes expect Frederick to do well or very well in his new role, while 86% said the same about Mary.
And while talking about monarchies, Brunei's Prince Abdul Mateen concluded his elaborate 10-day wedding ceremony for his marriage to his fiancée, Anisha Rosna Isa Kalebik. The 32-year-old prince, previously labelled one of Asia's most eligible bachelors, participated in a solemnization ceremony at a mosque during the celebration that began on the 7th of January and concluded later on Tuesday. Prince Mateen, the 4th son and 10th child of Sultan Hassan al Bolkiah, one of the world's wealthiest individuals, has risen to prominence, accompanying his father on diplomatic missions. Anisha is reported to own a fashion brand and tourism business. The main wedding reception, scheduled for Sunday at the 1,700-room palace, is expected to host international royalty and dignitaries. The celebration will feature a parade through the capital, Bandar Shri Begawan. Well, on that note, it's an end of this edition of Top Stories. News and updates continue on the other side. Don't go anywhere.
Ram's Ayodhya rebuilt.